when you interview an artist, right?
Mhm.
Is it difficult for you to interview somebody that doesn't necessarily see the things that you see eye to eye? So, meaning, you have a very diverse group of people working here, right?
Mhm.
One of the person that does camera and sound is black. Another woman is Puerto Rican. Another woman is Spanish. When you have somebody that's up here that's, let's say, racist, how do you conduct that interview? Meaning, it might offend you. It might offend the people working here. How do you conduct those type of interviews?
Now, guys, we got an interesting one here. DJ Envy asked Vlad how he interviews people who have racist or homophobic views. Now, I didn't even know that DJ Envy interviewed Vlad. So there's going to be a bunch of reactions because we rarely ever hear Vlad talking and being interviewed. Usually we hear him talking to the person he's interviewing. So I have a lot of questions and I'm very, very curious to actually see what's going on in this interview. But without further ado, let's actually watch the video.
Now, when you interview an artist, right?
Mhm.
Is it difficult for you to interview somebody that doesn't necessarily see the things that you see eye to eye? So, meaning, you have a very diverse group of people working here, right?
Mhm.
One of the person that does camera and sound is black. Another woman is Puerto Rican. Another woman is Spanish. When you have somebody that's up here that's, let's say, racist, how do you conduct that interview? Meaning, it might offend you. It might offend the people working here. How do you conduct those type of interviews?
Very, 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 very good question. And as someone that is looking to eventually get into this type of space as well, obviously building a reaction channel, eventually future plans is to potentially even go into streaming, who knows? But I definitely want to start inviting like artists on and different people that are within entertainment just to come and actually just talk and yap, you know what I mean? Ask them questions, how they get to where they are, So in saying this, I'm very, very curious to see what he has to say. Because I know how I deal with it, but this guy's making millions from doing this stuff, so I'm very, very curious.
Well, I try to have talks with potential employees about certain things, right? So I had an employee that was gay, right? And he was openly gay, and that's cool. Me and him had a talk, and we had a situation where one of our guests said some things about gay people.
I can guess what guess, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I know what guess it is. I'm sure.
Who is it?
I don't know. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want you to guess.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Who was it?
Lord Jamar.
I
Yes, you
wasn't
would've
guessing
guessed
that.
that,
I was
right.
guessing Boosie.
Lord Jamar has certain feelings about gay people that I don't necessarily share with,
Okay.
right?
That's
Sometimes
what it is as
there's
well.
certain things I agree with him. Sometimes there's, he feels the earth is flat.
Right.
That's my friend, but I don't agree with him on that, right? So he said certain things. I remember like certain like gay slurs and stuff like that. I think like before the cameras were rolling and I had a gay camera person and they got really upset. And I think they quit afterwards.
Really?
Right. And I felt bad about that. It wasn't something I said. It was something that guest said. So I remember when hiring another gay employee, me and this person sat down and I said, listen, we're going to have some guests that might say some things that might bother you in terms of your views of sexuality.
Right.
Sometimes, we have guests that, have somewhat racist views
Mhm.
sometimes. I mean, I've interviewed former Aryan Brotherhood.
Yep.
We've interviewed Umar Johnson, and I have mixed kids. Like, he's anti-bunny hopping. He's anti my family, essentially.
Well, only like half of your family.
They're half of my
Okay,
family, right.
Okay.
Well, really like a quarter. Yeah,
Yeah,
anyways,
quarter,
yeah.
yeah.
This guy last year is crazy, but especially when you do like area spin as well, it's crazy. But Umar Johnson, interesting. We might need to even do some reactions to that guy as well.
Right? So he was like, hey, man, it's not my place. Like, at the end of the day, it's not my business. I'm here to do a job. And something through the whole time that he was employed with me, there was never an issue. Because we had that conversation ahead of time. Because I don't control what my guests say.
Mm.
I could try to temper it to a certain degree, but you won't hear me saying some of this stuff. Like, I'm not going to say anti-gay stuff, anti-black stuff, anti-Muslim stuff, anti-Jewish stuff. That's just not who I am. But if a guest says it, I feel like my staff understands that this is just part of the overall situation, and I would hope that it doesn't bother them, but they always have the option to talk to me if it does, and I'm very open to hearing what they have to say.
And I think a part of it as well is just having a bit of self-awareness. If you're going to work on Vlad TV or any other corporate or platform or company, that if you watch their videos and you see that they've had previous people come on the platform and said one or two things that maybe you don't agree with, and because Vlad's not going to change that, let's be real, like that's how he makes his bread. You know what I'm saying? He gets people to come on and vent and be honest. It's the honest platform, right? So if you've seen that before and then you willingly just dance into the platform and then you're now there and you don't get offended, like where's the accountability in that? And I understand that it is still offensive, etc. For example, if I was to go in there and I don't know, as a camera person or doing the sound, for example, because obviously I'm a producer, right? And then someone now says something like the N-word, for example. Similar to what I said on I believe the Red Pill Fatigue video, where when I think Woman Propaganda was there with Fresh and Fit, and then he just shouts the N-word, like with an ER at the end as well. I would say to Fresh and Fit after, like, bro, like, we can't allow my man to just literally say that. Like, what's going on? And obviously, depending on the response after will obviously depend on whatever we basically do or navigate, etc. So I feel like a bit of accountability needs to be applied before obviously applying to these type of roles, not going into roles and basically trying to change them entirely. But at the same time, I don't know, you guys let me know when it comes to that. I'm always open to learn as well, you know. In the same way, I don't want it to be perceived as if what I'm saying is that, you know, people or companies can't change over time, because at the same time, that's the whole point of progression. You know, if we still had all the same policies from back then companies, life, just in general, things won't be how it is right now. It's all for progression, but at the same time, it's about that accountability. Before walking into establishment, you need to ask yourself, does this match my moral code? Am I, you know, for what this establishment basically is? And from there, you can then navigate the situation.
I asked them beforehand. They told me that they're cool with it.
Who?
I swear, your whole staff. I asked
staff? Okay.
Yeah, and not everybody, because I asked, because they were telling me some guests that were coming up next.
Yeah.
And one of the guests, I was like, damn. I said, well, how do you feel when you have a guest up there that might not align with what you think?
I mean,
and they all said the same thing. It was like, nah, we don't give a fuck. But you know, I like to talk. Like,
yeah.
I'm a talker. I like to talk to people when they come up here.
I mean, listen. Tomorrow we have an interview with Errol Musk.
That was the guy,
and now he's accused of sexually assaulting his
own kids,
male and female, and so forth. So this is obviously a very triggering.
Like kill black people, kill 3 black people, something like that, allegedly.
Well, it was a home invasion, robbery.
A home invasion. Oh, okay,
okay, that is wild. That is wild. Very wild. Very wild. I personally wouldn't feel comfortable with that. Like, I know I just said what I said, but I personally wouldn't feel comfortable with that. Personally, that's just my guy. I wouldn't even bring the guy on the platform, you know what I mean? But
killed him in self-defense.
Oh, okay, all right.
So it's not like he was out in the streets shooting black people.
Oh, all right.
It just so happened that the people that were trying to break into his home, and I think he had a daughter, like that was asleep at the time.
You break into somebody's home, you get what you get.
Yeah,
it is.
That's what I'm saying. So no, he's not out. I'm not interviewing.
They made it seem like he killed 3 black people.
No, I'm not hearing people out there shooting black people.
For you over there. No. He's like, he killed 3 black people. And I say,
listen,
shit.
you break into my home. I don't care if you're black, white, Jewish.
I don't give a fuck if you got one leg.
Asian,
you break my house, I'm shooting
whatever, gay, straight. I don't care if you're a midget.
I'm not asking.
I'm going to shoot you.
You're going down.
You're going down.
Yeah.
But I would not interview somebody that kills black people.
Okay.
Or really.
You're right over there, man. Maybe I was worried about you. Last question.
Yeah.
What is the most amount of money you spent on something other than your home?
I've got a watch. It's pretty expensive.
Why? Why did you want that watch?
The Richard Mill?
Yeah.
Or the Richard Mill?
Richard Mill.
The Richard Mill. Me and you were talking about this watch before my Breakfast Club interview. It was a watch I always wanted. And in the watch world, you're always very cautious about certain brands.
Of course.
Because, I remember I had a Hublot King Power. I think I wore it on the Breakfast Club at one point. Yep. At the time, it was a hot watch. Jay-Z was new watch alert, Hublot, and it was the hottest thing.
Dropped like a motherfucker.
Dropped like a brick. drop like a brick. I remember when I sold it, I sold at a loss, right? So I was always kind of funny about the RMs, but it was a watch I'd always wanted. And at one point, I'm like, I had to trade in some other watches.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not like a Drake that has like a 80 watch collection or whatever. You know, it was like, all right, I had to trade in like a AP and a couple of Rolexes and kick up some money on top of that. But it was a dope watch. And when I wear it out, it's like people are like, oh shit, it's Vlad got a Richard Mille. You get viewed a certain type of way. You're in a different type of caliber when that gets, when you're out there with that.
100%. Because even when I got my first ever watch, which is a small thing in comparison to what he's talking about, right? Like, the way people were looking and perceiving me was different. In fact, I got invited into, into, more business meetings and different things because people were like, okay, he's finally arrived. He's making a bit of money. Let's entertain him and take him a bit more serious. And that's just how it is when it comes to watch specifically and just how you present yourself just in general. So, yeah, man, very, very interesting. Very interesting. And another thing I'll also say is that in reality, when you're looking at, I'm always curious to see how like Jewish people spend their money and their financial literacy, because they seem to be very, very not even seem, they are very on point with it. And there's a lot to be learned when it comes to that, because this guy is a bloody rich guy. Do you know what I mean? But I get that he's wearing designer, but in comparison to how much money he's making versus what he could wear, especially if someone's interviewing him, etc., it's a big difference. Very big difference. So very, very curious to kind of understand that. But anyways, my people, watch the rest of this. I know it's not really a lot, but I'll leave the link down below anyways. And there's going to be more reactions to Vlad specifically as well. Let me know your thoughts down below. If there's anything that I said that was thought-provoking or that you agree, disagree with, just comment down below. And also make sure to like to boost it in the algorithm. Other than that, most importantly, subscribe to our channel, grow this channel all the way to the moon. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.